Hey there, guys. I'm back again, and I had some things I wanted to share. This is mainly about pride. And this is like the third time that I've tried recording this video because I am stuttering like no tomorrow. And if I don't get this video done correctly, I'm just going to stop. Anyway, I wanted to talk about pride, and I wanted to talk about being humble. What is the difference, and is it really important? Does it really play a part in our relationship with God? Well, I look at this. I look at you. You can be prideful, and you can think that, man, I'm just totally this awesome guy. I'm just totally awesome. I'm just so awesome. Look at me, man. I'm a Christian, and man, I'm a doctor. Look at me, man. I'm just so cool. And you can just go on and on and on about this. Whoever you are, you can be prideful. Then you can be this guy in the middle. What do you do for a living? Oh, I just play my Xbox all day. I'm just totally content. I'm not really that awesome. I'm just a simple little guy, So I don't really go to school. I don't really do, he's just doesn't really have an opinion about himself. They're just kind of there in the middle. Really boring people. They're just very monotone. Whatever. Then you got those people who are humble. You can't even see them. They're just, man, they're humble. They are not trying to be out there. They're not trying to get out in public. You can hardly even tell they're there. They are humble people. There are not many humble people. And the one thing, I'll tell you this right now, the one thing that has stimulated this recording that I wanted to share was being in nursing school for a little while and watching some different people of higher standards working from side to side. And I've noticed this category of people, and they are called doctors. Now, doctors are people, really scary people. Okay, I won't go there. Anyways, doctors are people who went to school for a really long time, okay? They went to school for probably about 8 to 10 years. And they learned about medical stuff. So, like, if they wanted to hurt you, they could. But that's not why they went to school. Anyway, they went to school so they could become a doctor, okay? They have a lot of book knowledge. Man, you ask them a question about the human body, they are going to be able to tell you things you don't even want to hear. They are smart people. And a lot of these doctors, they came out of school, and they came out a new man. A man that was like, I am a doctor. I am perfect. I'm a perfect man. I'm perfect, man. I'm so perfect. I'm going to get the job at the hospital. I'm going to make $100,000 a month, and all the pretty girls are going to love me, and everything is going to be perfect because I'm perfect, because I went to school so long. And that's the preconceived idea that they have. And honestly, it's driving me crazy. Yeah. But this isn't just having to do with doctors. This isn't just in the medical field. I think this has to do with even in the religious area. What kind of people go to school in religious? Seminary, man! You see these people that go to seminary for like 4 years or whatever, and they earn their bachelor's in pastoring. I don't even know if there's a name for it. They go to seminary and they learn about the Bible. And, there's a lot of... And crap, my thumb is bleeding again. I have this wart on my thumb, and it's, like, pussing all over the place. Anyways, we won't worry about that right now. Anyway, don't worry about that. These pastors, they go to seminary for several years, and I've met a lot of pastors who are very, hot-headed. They just think they're very perfect. Look at me, man. I know how to read the Bible. I am very smart. I can help you. I can help you learn about God. I can help you be a Pentecost and the Baptist. I can help you be Baptist. And then you got Catholics. I can teach you to drink wine. I can, it goes in all kinds of areas. I was joking about that. I love Catholics. Anyway, people get these hot heads because of book knowledge, and why is that? But this is just something I've noticed. It's kind of more of a stereotype, but this is kind of what has stimulated me wanting to talk about pride and what pride can do to us, and how does God look at pride. And the one person I wanted to mention in the Bible, this person did not have high standings. This person was looked down upon, and this person is Rahab. And everyone knows that Rahab was a prostitute in the Bible. What Rahab is known to be doing, and this is like her story, is she helped Joshua and this other dude hide from the soldiers because she knew that it was something God wanted her to do. and God counted it to her as righteousness. Wait. Rahab is a prostitute, dog. Okay, you know what a prostitute does, right? Yeah, I don't need to get into that. Rahab was a prostitute, and Jesus is like, look at this girl, man. She's such a good girl. She hid these guys, man. She's such a good girl. Dude, she's a prostitute. Why is God telling us this? And then you look at Jesus. He came to earth, and he's just about bashing these Pharisees upside the head, using words that would have been swear words back in the day, at these religious people. Why? What was the difference between Rahab and a Pharisee? Well, the difference between these Pharisees and between this prostitute, and I'm not categorizing them like all in the same way, the Pharisees were self-righteous. Rahab wasn't. And I think these are two, you can compare these things. These might not have been the things that determined what was made righteous and, all that stuff. But I'll tell you what, I bet the Pharisees did some pretty good stuff too. They probably weren't private about it. I'm sure if they did anything good, they were very public about it. Look at me, I did a good job, I'm a good man, I'm a good Pharisee, I read the Bible every day, I'm so perfect, I got all the right rituals and everything. And, I bet you Rahab probably had a lot more sin in her life. I bet she drank a lot more wine. I bet she smoked a lot more cigars than any of the Pharisees did. They probably didn't have cigars back then. I doubt they even had weed. I doubt they smoked anything. I think that was more of the Indian thing. Maybe they started that in Europe. I don't really know. I know they had alcohol, though, and I bet you what, Rahab drank a whole lot of that stuff. And God is saying, look at this girl. She did something that was right. I'm not saying that it's okay to be a prostitute. I'm not saying it's good to get drunk. I'm not saying any of that stuff. But I am saying that God doesn't always look at the outward appearance and that works. That we do. Let's look at another guy. Who was it? I'm on my laptop and I'm looking at different notes here. Okay, Moses. Look at Moses. All of us know who Moses is. Moses was the guy who led the Israelites out of Egypt. He was the guy. And the thing I want to talk about is, why did God choose Moses to do this stuff? Some people think, oh man, Moses was just a nice guy, and God was just wanting Moses to be his, his little puppy dog buddy, to do everything he told him to. No, I don't think that's why God chose Moses. I think God chose Moses because he was humble. People are thinking, why is that? You listen to God. God said in Exodus, yeah, Moses did write the book, but Moses said that God said that Moses was the most humble man in the world. Or how did he say that? There is no one more humble than my servant Moses, are his exact words that he said if you're reading the NIV version. I'm sure it's about the same way in the King James Version if you want to argue that point. Anyway, God said Moses was humble. Who was Moses? Moses was like the head honcho of all these Israelites. He was the guy. He was like the Elvis Presley of the Israelites. I don't like Elvis. Okay, let's use a different example. He was like the not someone who's music. The John Paul Pope. Pope John Paul. Pope John, hang on, I'll get this here in a minute. Pope John Paul. Is it Pope John Paul? Yeah, Pope John. He was like the Pope John Paul of the Israelites. He was the guy. I don't really like Pope John Paul either. Anyway, we're not going to get to that point. He was a big influence, and he was popular, man. All the girls loved him. You didn't get that big, sexy beard. I bet he was pretty darn good looking, man. Old guys can be sexy, okay? We talked about this. Anyways, I think that's why God chose Moses. You look back in the day, how did it all start? Moses in the old desert, he's walking his sheep down the road and down the sand anyways. He's out in the desert. Taking them back to the tents, and then this bush catches on fire. Moses looks at this bush. Oh my gosh, that bush just caught on fire. I'm going to keep walking. Moses starts going down the road. Then this bush starts talking to him. Oh my gosh, that bush is talking to me. I'm going to leave. So Moses keeps on walking down the road. And then he realizes that the voice from the burning bush is God's voice. Oh my gosh, that's God. So Moses decides to sit there and listen for a little bit, and he realizes that it was God telling him from the bush that he needs to go to Egypt and tell his brother Pharaoh, or his old, brother-in-law Pharaoh, to let his people go. Say what? Yeah. Moses is like, what? I'm not going to do that, man. God, I can't talk, man. I can't talk. I'm not good at talking. I don't want to go there. I just don't want to talk to him. I haven't talked to him forever. The last time I talked to you, man, he was making fun of him. I was making fun of him. He just doesn't want to talk to me, God. I don't want to talk. And God got kind of mad. And then he said, fine, I'm going to send Aaron with you to do all the talking, but I want you to lead. Why did God still want Moses to lead after he made all these excuses? I think it's because Moses was humble. And the way he said he was humble was said, God, I can't talk. And I think if Moses from that very beginning thought he was able to do it, what kind of leader do you think he would have made being the head honcho of the Israelites? If God had asked anybody else, if God had asked our pastor to go do this, if God had asked me, who is like, trying to live his best for God, if he had asked me, what do you think we would have done? We would have been like, yeah, God, we'll go do it. Man, we'll just do it with wide open arms, man. God, we're going to serve you in the best way we can because we are righteous. That's what we would have said, or that's what we would have thought. And we would have gone and done it, and then we probably would have got really hot heads in the middle of pulling these Israelites and dragging them out of Egypt. Man, we probably would have set up our own stage show. Man, we would have had the best stage to give the best sermons and the best rap concerts that were ever possible. But that's not what God wanted Moses to do. God wanted Moses to listen to his instruction and share it with the people. That was his only job. He didn't want him to be, big and popular. He didn't want big rap shows. He didn't want that. He just wanted Moses to follow his orders and be humble. I think that's why God chose Moses, because he was humble. Are we that humble? Let's look at another example. Look at David. David, God said David was a man after his own heart. That's pretty intense stuff, man. And then after winning all these battles because of God blessing David, David got this preconceived idea that he was going to count the number in his army. Was this army or the people? Anyway, it was something like that. He was going to count. He was going to see how prosperous he was. This dude came up to David and he was like, yo, dude, David, don't do that. Man, don't do that, man. God is the reason that you're so prosperous. This is God's wealth. This is God, man. Don't do this. And David's like, nah, man, I'm going to go do it anyway. So he got a little calculator and he counted up all his people. Oh, look, I got 1,256,000 people. Awesome, man. And then God got really mad and he said, yo, you're in trouble. And I bet David was really upset when he received that postcard from God and was like, oh, crap, I got to choose one of these 3 bad things that happened to me. I don't remember what he chose. What did he choose? Like his kids to be mad at him or something? Or was it the plagues? Maybe it was like all 3. I don't remember. I don't know my Bible good enough. Anyway, that was a good example. What was I getting at? Oh, yeah. David, by counting these people, I don't think it was a bad thing for him to count his army or the people. I think the problem is David was starting to get a hot head. Just that little spark, just that little hot-headedness was like big and punishable. And we can't even fathom that. How many times do we count like the number of people saved in our church? How many times we count our finances? I'll tell you what, I've been to churches where they count their finances every single stinking week. Look how much we're out of debt now. Wow, look at that. Man, we're like this much closer. Blah, blah, blah. We are so amazing. A church on debts. Yeah, that's just totally amazing. Anyway, I shouldn't be doing that. Forget I said that. I'm not going to delete it from the video, though, because it's my video, and I can leave it in there if I want. But, anyway, that's another example. The last example I wanted to share is the story when Jesus was on the earth. He was doing all these miraculous signs. He was saving people. Anyway, this dude comes up to Jesus, and he's like, Jesus, my servant is sick. Can you heal him? And Jesus is like, sure, yeah, man. Show me to your house, and I'll save him. And this guy stopped him. He's like, no, Jesus, stop. I am not worthy. He said, I am not worthy for you, Jesus, to come into my house. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. Dude, this guy is telling Jesus, don't come into my house. I am not holy. I am not worthy. I am a nobody. You are everything. And I believe you can just say the word and this servant will be healed. My servant will be healed. Just don't come into my house. I am not worthy, but thank you. And Jesus was like, look at this guy. Man, he is so humble. I like this guy. And I think that was what considered him to be righteous. Yeah, it was his faith, and that's what we hear all the way through the New Testament, and that's what we teach nowadays. We teach, oh yeah, if you have the faith of God, you can get whatever you want, man. It's just awesome. God is just economic prosperity, awesome movement freak. But maybe being humble has something more to do with faith than we think, because we've turned faith more into a big public thing, like have faith, look like an awesome Jesus freak creep and go to church, look all dressed up and fancy, have faith. Just have faith, man. Just take a chill with Jesus. But maybe it's all about being humble. And maybe you show your faith by being humble. Or maybe you can't have faith until you're humble. I don't know. Just an idea. But I'm pretty sure if this guy came up to Jesus and was like, hey, yo, Jesus, what's up with you, man? Man, I was wondering, do you want to come over to my house and play some Xbox? Man, I got this new game, man, new zombie game. Really great game, man. I bet you'd be great at it. Man, we'll pop out with the Dr. Pepper, man, and we'll just party all night long. We'll just act like the best brothers. I bet if he did that, Jesus wouldn't have liked him very much. He would have thought, man, that's a really great game, but man, I'll tell you what, this guy thinks he's on my same level. He's not very humble. Why? And I think nowadays we get this preconceived idea that if we are not a prostitute, and that if we have good works, and if we have the faith, then we're good. But maybe it has more to do with, are we humble? Or do we look at ourselves like we're deserving? And it wasn't until recently, I think, and I'll share a little bit of it, I used to think I was a pretty great guy. I worked for Jesus. Everything I did for Jesus. I read my Bible. I did everything. I worked at Christian camps all summer long. Man, I gave things up to be that Christian boy, man. I did it all. And I thought I was pretty special. And it wasn't until recently, very recently, that Jesus decided to just slap me upside the face. And he was like, you're human, man. You are human. You are a sinner in the mind. You are nothing more. Why do you think you are any more than a prostitute? Why do you think you're any more than a playa? Why do you think you're any more than a robber and a thief? Why do you think you're any more than someone who is perfectly clean? You might be a virgin physically, but I'll tell you what, mentally you are not. You are the adulterous human. I'll tell you what, we are all adulterous and we are all human. And there's nothing separating us from being prostitution, whatever you want to call it, prostituted and adulterous and liars and thieves and stealers and everything, all the above of wickedness. We are human. And if we think for a split second that we are holy along with God's lines, we have, oh man, you're stuck. Are we prideful in our religion and our beliefs? Or are we humbled? And do we ask for and beg for forgiveness? God, I am so not right. I am so not with it. And even in my religious works, and even though all my Christian friends pat me on the back, I know that I am in so much need of you and your holiness. Nothing drives me more crazy than people who think they're perfect. And I bet it's the same with God. Only more so, because I'm not perfect, but God is. Thanks. That's all I had to say.